ओम नमो नारायणाय दिव्य महाराज जय श्री रामकृष्ण
Om Namo Narayanaya. So, shall we begin?
यस महाराज
Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of the great master Sri Ramakrishna, written by Shardanandaji Maharaj. Yesterday we were talking into different conceptions of God. We may be wondering how could God be with form, without form, and so many other things. Let us not worry about it. Let us give that aspect towards God. That is His sweet will, because God is all powerful. He can be with form, with attributes. He can be with form, without attributes. It can be without form, with attributes. He can be without form, without attributes. He can be many, many more things. So that is His sweet will. And also He is omnipotent. That is, He is all powerful. What is the meaning of all powerful? That He can become anything. He can perform anything. So to prove that omnipotency, all powerfulness, Ramakrishna used to tell a story. And what is that story? The beautiful story is, while two yogis were performing spiritual practices, Narada Maharshi, who was going there on the path, one of the yogis asked Narada Maharshi, "Oh great sir, where are you going?" Narada Maharshi told, "I am going towards Vaikuntha to see Lord Narayana." "Oh, is it? So I am always meditating on Lord Narayana. Please tell me, what is Lord Narayana doing? So I want to know about the Lord." Then Narada Maharshi told, "Okay, I will report back when I am coming from Vaikuntha. What is Lord Narayana doing in Vaikuntha?" Then there was another yogi who also saw Narada Maharshi going to Vaikuntha and asked him, "Sir, holy sir, where are you going?" "I am going to Vaikuntha." "Is it? Can you report me back? What is Lord Narayana doing? I am meditating on Lord Narayana now. If I can know what Lord Narayana is doing, it will help me in meditation. So can you report me back when you come back from Vaikuntha, what Lord was doing in Vaikuntha?" Narada Maharshi agreed, "Yes, I will." Then finally, Narada Maharshi went to Vaikuntha and saw Lord Narayana, talked to him, and while coming back, he met these two yogis again. So the first yogi asked Narada Maharshi, while he met him again on the way back, "What is my Lord Narayana doing? What is my Lord Narayana doing?" He was very eager to ask. Then Narada Maharshi told, "Oh, I saw in Vaikuntha your Lord Narayana was holding on a needle. You know, needle has an eye, small hole to pierce the thread, very small hole. So, you know, it was, we used to do that as small children. We used to be taught how to stitch and all those things. Work experience classes in the primary schools. Generally, it was taught to the girls, but boys were also taught how to stitch and all those things. So, needles. And we used to see our mothers and sisters in the Purvashrama used to stitch, and we used to learn from them. So, to put that thread into that needle of the eye or the hole of the eye was the most difficult thing. You have to put it in water, nicely squeeze it so that it will become sharp and no fiber will be coming out, and then pierce it with great difficulty, with great concentration. Sometimes the needle will go away, sometimes the thread will go away. So slowly see that it comes together, and then to put it inside that needle and putting it out and bringing that thread, and then stitching was the most difficult job, just to put it in. So many times our mothers and our sisters used to ask me to do that work because I could do it very easily, concentrate there and put it in. So they would take my help. So I used to do it with great concentration and put it in help. So now Narada Maharshi is telling Lord Narayana took a needle, and then he also took a camel. So to put a small thread, such a thin thread into that needle is the most difficult job. Then imagine now Lord Narayana in Vaikuntha has taken hold of the needle, small needle, and he has taken hold of a camel, big camel, and he's putting that camel through the eye of the needle from this side to that side and that side to this side. He was putting it, piercing the camel and bringing that camel. Then this yogi laughed at Narada Maharshi, told, "Oh, it's impossible. It's not logical, illogical, irrational. I don't believe in it. You are a liar. You never went to Vaikuntha, you concocted something, and you're trying to fool me. Do you think I'm a dumb person? A donkey, dumb donkey that I will believe all you what you tell? Get away from here. You are a liar. You have not seen Vaikuntha at all. You have not gone to Vaikuntha. Lord Narayana is taking a needle and putting the camel from this side to that side. Oh, lie." Then Narada Maharshi laughed and went away. Then he came to the next yogi. The next yogi asked him, Sir, can you tell me what my Lord Narayana was doing?" He told the same thing. So Lord Narayana in Vaikuntha I saw, he took the needle and he was trying to put that camel, the big camel, into that eye of the needle. And he was passing on the camel from this side to that side to this side. He was playing like that. That person, that yogi became so happy, he started jumping in joy. He told, yes, my Lord was doing like this. Oh, what a joyful thing. My Lord was trying to pierce or putting the camel from this side to that side. He jumped and he clapped his hand and he was so happy, he was dancing. Then Narada Maharshi told, how can it be possible? How did you believe it? Lord was putting the camel from this side of the needle to the eye of the needle to the other side. Yes, the Lord is all powerful, is omnipotent. He can do anything. Is there anything impossible on this earth for the Lord to do, perform? Lord has created this world. He has created so many stars, the sun, the earth, the different satellites, planets, and so many other things, intergalactic objects, the smallest thing, the biggest thing, the rotation, the revolution, the weathers, the weather pattern, not one single planet or star is dashing together. Everything is going on with so much of precise cosmos. In this chaos, there is so much of chaos and there is cosmos. Everything is so wonderfully going. Is it not the work of the Lord? The Lord is doing, his intelligence is performing all these things. Is it not so great? So if the Lord has done all these things, can't he do this? The Lord is all powerful. He can do anything. So that was his faith. The God is all powerful. So he can perform anything. He can take a human form. He can be a human being. He can be an avatara. Then you might imagine, how can the Lord, who is formless, who is attributeless, take the form and become a human being, accept all the weaknesses of the body of a human being, and be avatara? It's impossible. We don't believe. We are modern educated. How can we believe it? So there's no loss. You need not believe. Who will be the loser? Nobody will be the loser. The Lord will never be the loser. So enjoy your life. So the Lord, there's nothing impossible in this world for the Lord. So now, one more wonderful thing is to be noted. Sri Ramakrishna is now going to mention. And what is that? We all think that because we are highly intellectual, we have been having so many master degrees and PhDs, we are very, very intelligent. All the other village dumb people, they don't have education, they have very little education, they are illiterates, or maybe they know some reading and writing. What is our position? We know what God is. We never believe in all those idols. We never believe in all those idolatries and forms. We are so great. We take only the formless aspect of God with attributes. You don't know that there is formless without attributes, and much more greater than that. So many deeper things are found out by our great rishis who resided in the forest and always meditated. So they don't know all those things. They know very little. That's why half-baked knowledge is very, very dangerous. It's better to be ignorant than half-baked knowledge or have full knowledge. So here they become egoistic. The basics of spiritual life is to give up your ego. That's called perfect self-abnegation. But we go on increasing our ego and we think that we are moving forward in spiritual life. The more your ego, the farther you are away from God. So Ramakrishna is noting that don't be so egotistic and have that pride that we are the believers of God without form, with attributes. And the other people who have the faith in God with form, chosen, detailed other things, they are fools. They are ignorant people. They don't know anything. No. Ramakrishna is to put the unripe, these people are called unripe, formless conception of God. Is unripe. A ripened concept is very high, but these unripe people, the unripe conception is to put those people on par with the devotees who believed God with form. Is to put them on par. So now let us see what Ramakrishna has to say about these believers of God, different varieties of God, believers, aspirants. The master, Sri Ramakrishna, used to weave the followers of the unripe doctrine of God without forms and the devotees of God with forms as being on par. Even a person who is with form is maybe an idolater. If he had gone deeper in that, in his faith and steadfastness, and even had a small little vision or conviction, is much more greater than the person who started with the doctrine of God about formlessness and the unripe stages. So the master used to weave the followers of unripe doctrine of God without form and the devotees of God with forms as being on par. He told them also what form of meditation would be helpful. He told them also what form of meditation would be helpful. So look here, Sri Ramakrishna is to tell, now he's telling, if you are a follower of the unripe doctrine of God without form, so to them he's instructing, look here, he said in those days, he used to. So he has practiced everything. He didn't have any contradiction. Everything was complementary to him. He enjoyed everything. So now Ramakrishna is telling about his own example, his own life. He used to think God with form, meditate on God without form, with attributes, without attributes. All that, not one thing has he left. Now he used to give his own example. Look here, said he, in those days, I used to imagine the divine Lord. I used to imagine the divine Lord to be an ocean filling the whole universe. That is the reality, consciousness, ocean of consciousness. That's why it's called Milky Ocean, churning that is compared to as the Kshira Sagara, the ocean of milk. That is, what is milk? White in color. The milk, ocean of milk, the Lord is sleeping on the Kshira Sagara. So it's consciousness, nothing but consciousness is considered as the ocean of milk. So churning of the ocean of consciousness. Kshira Sagara is the churning of your personality. So that's why the Meru Parvata is used there. Meru is your Meru Danda, the spinal cord. The churning now brings the sadhana, the spiritual aspiration, the pull between the divine forces and the demoniacal forces is the churning of this ocean, Milky Ocean, your mind, your subconscious mind. The bad qualities, the good qualities will be pulling you here and there. That is the churning happening. And then purity comes, then the Kundalini gets awakened. You get all the different visions. You're getting so many things now. The Kalpavriksha came, the Kalpataru, the Kamadhenu came, the Kaustubhamani. So many things came at that time. Jewels, so many things. Even the hala poison. So when this churning is going on, you may get so many difficulties, diseases. You may get so many toxins produced in your body because of the negative qualities pull between the good and the bad. So that is imagined here as hala, the greatest poison. So Shiva drank it. So the Guru in the form of Shiva Guru, he absorbs all the sin on himself. He suffers for us. The Lord Shiva is taking that sin, he's become Nilakantha. Like that Guru will take away all our sins and help us to go forward. So that is the happening in all of our life. Churning of the Milky Ocean is always happening. So what is this? Look here, Sri Ramakrishna used to tell. Said he, in those days I used to imagine the divine Lord to be an ocean. So everywhere it is the ocean. We think that Akasha, ether, is a thing which is filling up everything. But the Lord is in the form of consciousness, is filling even the space between the Akasha, beyond Akasha, everything. Inside Akasha, outside Akasha, everywhere. The Lord, that's why he is called Chidakasha. Akasha is the matter which is filling, the original matter which is filling everything. But the Lord, or consciousness, is the Chida Akasha, which is filling this Akasha, which is beyond the Akasha, which is giving existence to this ether, everything, the original matter and everything. So now Ramakrishna is telling, look here, said he, in those days I used to imagine the divine Lord to be an ocean, filling the whole universe. And me, the Jivatman. Yeah, but the Lord is not Jivatman, but he's the Paramatman, but he's comparing. He's trying to help us through that example. So, and me to be a fish, diving, floating, swimming in that vast sea of existence, knowledge, bliss, that is consciousness, existence, Sat, Trikale Apitishtati, which stays, which is there, which exists in all the three states, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and even in the Turiya. So that is existence, Sat, which exists in all the three states, all, whether it may be past, present, future, whether it may be in the waking state, whether it may be in the dream state, in the deep sleep state, and beyond that. So all the time it exists. Trikale Apitishtati iti Sat. So that is Sat. Then infinite existence, absolute. Knowledge, existence, knowledge. Here knowledge is a lower aspect of consciousness. When you try to objectify consciousness, it becomes knowledge. The higher aspect of knowledge is consciousness. So it is infinite knowledge or consciousness, absolute. Sat Chit, that is Chit. So that's how you get the name Chaitanya. Chaitanya comes from this word Chit, consciousness. So, and bliss, the same thing, is infinite bliss absolute. Infinite knowledge absolute is infinite existence absolute, is infinite joy or bliss absolute. So I was swimming like a fish in the ocean of indivisible existence, knowledge, bliss. What is this indivisible? Akhanda, which cannot be broken. What cannot be broken? Which is everywhere, sarvavyapi. There is no place where it doesn't exist. How can you break it? When it is present everywhere, how can you break it? So that's why it's called indivisible, akhanda, existence, knowledge, bliss, satchit, ananda, infinite, ananta, which pervaded me through and through. So just you have to imagine these things. Your mind becomes so broad, becomes so pure. The mind becomes so light. So you have to imagine these things. That is bhava. So which pervaded me through and through. So Ramakrishna is telling, I will again go through the meditation of Sri Ramakrishna. This was one of the way Sri Ramakrishna used to meditate on the formless aspect of God. So you can also try this type of meditation. Sri Ramakrishna is teaching us this meditation. Even people with the conception of God with form can also try that. What is there? What is the loss? Ramakrishna has taught us, he used to do it. There is no loss. We can sometimes try this too. So after the Guru mantra, after the Guru type of meditation the Guru has given, Ramakrishna has this type of meditation. So many such meditations Sri Ramakrishna has taught us. Only we have to be aware and take it up. I have noted it yesterday too. I gave you, told how Sri Ramakrishna used to meditate. So now let us hear from the holy mouth of Sri Ramakrishna. So look here, Sri Ramakrishna used to tell all his direct disciples or the householder disciples, said he, in those days, Ramakrishna's words, direct speech, is not indirect speech. Direct speech, Ramakrishna is telling, look here, in those days, I used to imagine the Divine Lord to be an ocean filling the whole universe, and me to be a fish, diving, floating, swimming in that vast sea of existence, knowledge, bliss. So to help in that type of meditation, because Master Mahashay, that is Mahendranath Gupta, the writer of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, like the formless aspect of God. So Sri Ramakrishna took him to one place in Calcutta where there was a big pond in the big mansion of one rich man. So in that big pond or a lake, there were thousands of fishes and they were swimming joyfully in that big pond or lake. And Ramakrishna took Mahendranath Gupta, or Master Mahashayam, the writer of gospel, to that to show him, see, this is the way you have to see the fish jumping out of the water, going in water, swimming, splashing. So in that, so that it will help you to meditate in this way on the formless aspect. As I told you, how to meditate on God in this form, the formless aspect. So he took him to that place where the big lake or the pond, thousands of fishes were splashing, jumping and swimming, to show how you can imagine yourself as a fish swimming in the ocean of existence, knowledge, bliss, consciousness, God, the Lord. So sometimes the fish dives, then the fish will be floating, the fish will be jumping, splashing, swimming in the vast ocean of knowledge, existence, knowledge, bliss. You can also. So I too used to do, Ramakrishna used to tell, look here, in those days I used to imagine the Divine Lord to be an ocean filling the whole universe and me to be a fish diving, floating, swimming in the vast sea of existence, knowledge, bliss. And again, sometimes still the meditation is continuing, is teaching us the technique of meditation. Again, sometimes I considered myself to be a picture. What is a picture? It is not the picture you draw. It is P-I-T-C-H-E-R, not P-A-C-T-U-R-E, that one. The picture is the drawing or something, the canvas. That picture is different. This is picture, P-I-T-C-H-E-R, means a vessel. A vessel. The picture means it may be a metallic vessel or it may be a clay pot or something, any vessel. So Ramakrishna is telling again another technique, another way of meditating on the formless aspect of God. Again, sometimes I considered myself to be a picture immersed in the water. Really we are. That's why we are considered as the Ghata. That's why you do the Ghata Sthapana in all the pujas in the Hindu system during Navaratri. Don't you do that Kalasha Sthapana or Ghata Sthapana in the beginning? And I explained to you during that, what is this Ghata? It's our body, this Jiva. Ghata, Jivatman is called Ghata. All the songs of the great sages is with that Gungataka Patakolare, Tuhe Rama Milenge, Ghata Ghata Ramata, Rama Ramaya, Ghata Ghata in all the living beings. So their Ghata means all the pots, all the pictures. So all the living beings are considered as pots. Ghata Ghata Ramata, Rama Ramaya. The Lord Rama, Kabir Das is telling, resides in all these pots as Jivatman. The same Lord existing in every Ghata. So picture. So that is the reality. In every picture, his body, Ghata Ghata Ramata, the Lord is residing as Rama, as Krishna, or Narayana, or Vishnu, or Shiva, Subramanya, Ganesha, Devi, whatever you may think, it's the same consciousness. So again, Sri Ramakrishna used to tell, sometimes I considered myself to be a picture immersed in the water of that indivisible existence, knowledge, bliss, infinite, which pervaded me through and through. Consider yourself to be the picture immersed in that indivisible, akhanda, satchit, ananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, infinite. Imagine that you are a picture immersed in that existence, knowledge, bliss, everywhere. Inside you are the picture, outside the picture, everything it is indivisible. Existence, knowledge, bliss, Satchit, Ananda, the Lord, pervading me in and out. So in that way I used to meditate. So these are the two techniques here, taught here. There are so many techniques on the formless aspect of God, unripened formless aspect. Ramakrishna used to teach how you can do that. He used to say, other times, Sri Ramakrishna, look here. Once think of this. And also, he used to tell another way of meditation. Once think of this, showing himself, his own body. Ramakrishna used to tell, look here. Once think of this, that is his own Ramakrishna's body, while sitting down for meditation. So meditate or think upon the body, the avatara. So that is condensed Satchit Ananda. You may be knowing that the first vision, one of the visions of Sri Ramakrishna, there was this Akhanda Satchit Ananda, the bliss, the ocean, Milky Ocean, the consciousness. It condensed to form the form of a child. It condensed. And that child came to one of the Saptarishis and embraced that neck of that Saptarishi and told, I'm going down. Will you also come? Then the Saptarishi, one of the Saptarishi, opened his eyes and looked at that beautiful form. He could know that on whom the Saptarishi was meditating in his heart is the same thing taking the form of the child, that indivisible Satchit Ananda has taken this form. He just smiled, indicating that yes, I am coming. And that child was none other than Sri Ramakrishna, and this Rishi was none other than Swami Vivekananda. So the condensed infinite existence, knowledge, bliss took the form of this Ramakrishna Avatara this time. That's why it's called Avatara Varishta Yuga Avatara. So Ramakrishna is telling, once think of this, that is Ramakrishna, while sitting down for meditation. Why? Why should you think? Why should you meditate on that? Why? Once think of this, showing himself while sitting down for meditation. Ramakrishna is explaining why. Why do I say so? Because you have faith here. Thinking of this, what is going to happen to you? Thinking of this will remind you of the Lord. Thinking of this, because I have nothing except God. Ramakrishna would never think other than God. Only God and God and God. It was filled, condensed consciousness. God and God alone. Thinking of this will remind you of the Lord, Divine Lord. Just as when one sees a herd of cows, just as one sees a herd of cows, one remembers the cow herd. When you see the cows grazing, then immediately you will remember the cow herd Lord Krishna. So thinking of this will remind you of the Divine Lord. How? Just as when one sees the herd of cows, one remembers the cow herd. When one sees the sun, one is reminded of the Father. When you see the son, he is reminded of the father and mother. When one sees the pleader in the court, one recalls the court. Even so, will the thought of this, that is Sri Ramakrishna used to tell, even though the thought of this will help you to direct your mind to God. A thought of this, that is the Ramakrishna, will help you to direct your mind to God. Do you understand? Do you understand why Ramakrishna is telling to once think of this, showing himself while sitting down for meditation? Why do I say so? Because your faith, you have faith here. Thinking of this will remind you of that Divine Lord. Just as when one sees a herd of cows, one remembers the cow herd. When one sees the son, one is reminded of the father. When one sees a pleader, one recalls the court. Even so, while the thought of this help you to direct your mind to God. Do you understand? The mind is scattered here and there. All of our mind is scattered here and there. Sometimes Sri Ramakrishna used to give the example how our mind is. Have you seen mustard seeds? Yeah, now let us think that a mustard seed is filled up in a gunny bag. Now somebody bought it and opened it up and spilled all that mustard seed on the ground. Now to collect back that mustard seed and put it into the gunny bag is now given to you, the work. How wonderful will be the work? We'll enjoy it, is it? So our mind is like that mustard seed. It has been spilled all over now. So you are trying to concentrate or meditate is like taking back that mustard seed which is spread over to bring it back. I have heard long back when I was a child that the rowdy elements, the thugs, the criminals, while they used to do the rioting and plundering in groups, so when they know the policemen will come, they will have that special boots on their legs, and also they will come on the horse, mounted police, or they will come in their vehicles, jeep or scooter. So what they used to do, while they were rioting, when the police are about to come, they will spill over the bag, many bags of ragi. So ragi is a millet very similar to this mustard, more stronger and sturdier, not soft as this mustard. So that millet will be spread over everywhere. So when the policemen will come with their thick shoes, they will slip and fall down and break their hip bones. They cannot get up. The more they try to get up policeman, they fall down. The mounted horse will fall down because of the draghi. It's slippery. Then the jeep will not find its direction. It will start moving about here and there. If you turn left, it will go right. If you turn right, it will go backwards. So in that way, the criminals used to deflect the policeman not coming to that area. So I've heard like that these criminals, thugs used to escape from the policeman. So here it is just like that seed. Your mind is like that ragi, bag of ragi, or the gunny bag of ragi, a sack. And if you spill it out, how difficult it is for you to collect back. Go try, stand on that, you will fall down. Collect it, it goes here and there, runs here and there. So our mind is like that bag of mustard seed. You have spilled it out. It's so difficult to concentrate back and put it into the bag. So now the mind is scattered here, there, and everywhere. Think of this, that is telling, think of Sri Ramakrishna. Think of this and it will get collected. What is the use of thinking of Ramakrishna, meditating on Ramakrishna? Think of this, it will get collected in one place. It's not that I'm great, I'm Avatar Purusha, I'm God, that you have to concentrate on me, on Ramakrishna, that is what he's telling. But I always think of God. I have nothing but God and God. I'm just meditating on God and God alone, nothing, no other thought than God. So it is condensed consciousness. So the mind which is scattered here, there, and everywhere, thinking on this, thinking on the form of Ramakrishna, what will happen? The mind will get collected in one place, and right meditation will follow when it is directed towards God. So it will help you in meditation to concentrate your mind. The moment you see the form of Ramakrishna, because he has directed his mind only to God and God alone. So the moment you see the form of Sri Ramakrishna, what is going to happen? It will help you recollect your mind, which is scattered here and there, and then direct it towards God, meditate on God. Then the mind will not run away here and there. That is the advantage. In another place, Sri Ramakrishna tells, what is the use of meditating on me, on him, Ramakrishna? Just like the property of the Father will flow automatically or by default from the Father to the Son, the Pitrarjita Asti, or the Pitrarjita property, the parental, the property and wealth of the Father will automatically or by default will flow to the son or the daughter, to the child. Likewise, if anybody meditates on me, all my property will flow down to them, just like the property of the Father will flow down to the children. Whether man or woman or anybody who is meditating on me, they will get all my property. What is the property of Sri Ramakrishna? What has he gained? Has he gold? Has he diamonds? Has he the rubies? No. All his spiritual property, whatever he has gained in his lifetime or even his earlier avatars as other Rama, Krishna, Narayana, all those different avatars, what all spiritual wealth he has gained, all that wealth will flow to you. The more you meditate on him, all that will flow to you, just like from the Father to the Son. These were the statement of Ramakrishna. So what will happen? What is the gain? You want that spiritual property? Meditate. Don't worry. So, moreover, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, hold fast to some form of God. Hold fast to some form of God or some mood, spiritual mood. Mood means here bhava, spiritual mood. Hold fast to some form of God or some mood which is to your liking. It is only then that there will be steadfastness. So very, very important aspect in spiritual life is steadfastness. Never give up. The same time, the same place. You think, you sit, you meditate on God, you read on God, you don't give up that. Once you take up something, you are so steadfast. Otherwise, if you are not steadfast, today, one God, form of God, today, another different path. Third day, another guru. Fourth day, another thing. Fifth day, another thing. Go on changing. Go on trying everything, titillating your nerves. So that's all. That is not steadfastness. Steadfastness is once you catch hold of one path, you will never give up. Ramakrishna used to give the example of the farmers, the traditional farmers. Whether it rains or shines or if there is drought, whatever, the farmers will never give up farming. They are so steadfast. Continue with that. Strong willpower. The same path, the same form. Don't go on experimenting. That's only in the initial stages you do all those things. But once you get from the guru, don't give up, whatever might be. Even if your life is going off, you may be very sick, never give up. Be steadfast. So steadfastness is a very, very important. So the negative quality called fanaticism, when directed towards God, will become steadfastness. You will not see any other form, just your own, the Lord. You need not quarrel and do other things about hate other forms, but you are steadfast to your own divine form, the chosen deity you have taken, your guru has given you. You will never give up. Continue with that, whatever might be. You may be sick, you may be happy, you may be in adverse condition, whatever. You never give up. That's called steadfastness. So, very, very important property, character for a spiritual aspirant is being told. Ramakrishna is telling. Moreover, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, hold fast to some form of God or some mood, bhava, which is to your liking. It's only then that there will be steadfastness. It is better to be a fanatic than a lunatic. People who go on changing the paths, go on changing the spiritual practices every day, every moment, every second, without holding on to one. Hold on to one, then after that, holding on to the pillar, do whatever you want. Rotate, revolution, everything you do. Somersault, everything, but hold on to one and then do all the other things. So that is steadfastness. So it is better to be a fanatic, better to be a fanatic than a lunatic. Lunatics are people will go on changing today, no topic at all. Today one topic, now one topic, another topic. No steadfastness. So when there is no steadfastness, you become a lunatic. So it is better to be a fanatic than a lunatic. So hold fast to some form of God or some mood which is to your liking. It's only then that there will be steadfastness. Ramakrishna is now further telling, he is realizable, God is realizable by means of spiritual moods, spiritual moods alone. God is realizable by means of spiritual moods, bhava alone. God is realizable by means of spiritual moods alone. How can he be realized by if one who lacks it? How can wonderful words of Sri Ramakrishna, note it, take it deep into your heart, write it in your diary. Do not forget it again and again. You have to read. Immediately jot it down in your diary or a book, piece of paper. Write it down. Sri Ramakrishna is telling, hold fast to some form of God or some mood, spiritual mood, bhava, which is to your liking. It is only then that there will be steadfastness. He is realizable by means of spiritual bhava, moods alone. He is realizable by means of spiritual bhava or moods alone. That is the only way. How can he be realized? One who lacks it? How can the Lord be realizable without having a spiritual mood, a bhava or steadfastness? can't be realized. You should have steadfastness. You should hold on to one form, one mood. Spiritual moods, bhava, are necessary. That is, we have explained about what are the moods. Pancha bhavas, as Vaishnava tells. Other path are telling so many other things. That is the Shanta bhava, Dasya bhava, Sakhya bhava, Vatsalya bhava, Madhura bhava. Considering God as your lover, sweetheart, husband. So God as your friend, God as your son or daughter, God as your father, God as your mother, because Shanta bhava. So in some other things, they will tell God as your mother. Bhava, it is not included here. But there is that bhava, matru bhava, saying God as your mother, pitru bhava, God as your father. So many other things are there, bhava. So now, hold on to something. Continue with that. Never give it up. Spiritual moods, bhava, are necessary. One should cultivate a particular spiritual mood and then call on him. With that relationship established, then call on him. As is one's mood, bhava, so is one's gain. As is one's mood or bhava, yad bhavam, so is one's gain, tad bhavati. Yad bhavam, tad bhavati. Yad bhavam, tad bhavati. As is one's mood, so is one's gain. As is one's mood, so is one's gain. So that spiritual bhava, spiritual mood is, it is faith that is at the root. What is the constant factor everywhere? Whether you should have steadfastness or you should hold on to some bhava, the basic thing there is faith. Faith. What is faith? Yeah, I have faith. I believe in God. No, that is not faith. Faith means when your belief is converted into action. When you start performing every action of yours with that belief, your actions will be moted, your actions will be guided, will be goaded by that belief. Your belief becomes so deep that you cannot but act. You will act, you will do something. So that is faith. I'll give the beautiful example of Sri Ramakrishna himself to understand what is faith. Belief in action, dynamic aspect of belief is faith. Should be in action. You can't sit quiet when you believe something. So the beautiful dynamic aspect of belief is faith. It's not static. The static aspect is belief. The dynamic aspect is faith. So now let us go through the example of Sri Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna used to declare openly, you might be afraid or you might get angry on Ramakrishna. Why? Ramakrishna is telling that all of us, you, me, everybody, we don't believe in God. Surprised? Ramakrishna is telling a sweeping statement that all of us, you, me, them, everybody, don't believe in God. You tell thousands of times that I'm a believer of God. But in reality, you don't believe in God. How is that? You don't have faith in God, Ramakrishna. How is that? Please explain it to me. I'm upset. You're telling that I'm not a believer of God. I don't have faith in God. I'm now upset. No, I'm a believer of God. I belong to some denomination. I'm a Baptist, I'm that and this. I go to this Methodist church. I'm a Catholic, I'm a Protestant. I'm a Syrian Christian. I'm a Muslim, I believe in God. I'm a Hindu, I belong to this group. So now Ramakrishna comes into the picture, he makes it clear. Ramakrishna tells, imagine, now there is a thief. The thief comes to know. He's a very professional thief. He's not an ordinary thief. He's a professional thief. He comes to know that there is a room which doesn't have doors, which doesn't have windows. That room doesn't have any security, nobody to guard it. But inside the house, there is a very big pot, a golden pot. Inside that golden pot, studded with so many rubies and diamonds, there are so much of valuable gems, emeralds, rubies, diamonds, pearls, golden coins. And so many costly things are there in that pot. It is not like this. A wife told the husband to bring a chain with 24 carats, the golden chain with 24 carats. The husband couldn't understand what is this 24 carats, the golden chain, the chain with the 24 carats. He went, he purchased, packed it so nicely, beautiful packing. You see the packing, you're mesmerized. And he presented it to the wife. Wife was very happy. My husband has bought the 24 carat chain. Then she was so excited to open that packet. The husband told, no. I want to give you a surprise. I will open it. You close your eyes. And the wife closed the eyes and she was so excited to see the golden chain, 24 carat. He opened it. And he held that big chain in front of her. The moment she opened eyes, that excitement is gone. That was converted into sorrow, depression, and surprise. What is this? The husband has bought carrots, the vegetable carrot. He has stitched them into a chain of carrot or a garland of carrot. And he has bought it to the wife. All big, the best carrot of the market. So beautiful colored carrot, 24. The wife, what is this? I told the chain of 24 carat golden chain. And you have bought carrot. You told 24 carat. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 24 carats are there. Garland. What did you wear it? It looks so nice. So it is not such 24 carat gold, real gold. So diamonds, pearls, everything, costly things are there. And the thief has come to know that a big pot, golden pot with so many costly, valuable emeralds, gold, everything. So nuggets also. Last time when I had told about nuggets, it's golden nuggets. Many people, modern day people, do not know about the golden nuggets, the term golden nuggets. They know they are modern, they are Americanized than the Americans. And the moment I told about nuggets, they told chicken nuggets of the McDonald's. I was surprised, what is that? I do not know the chicken nuggets of this thing. They showed the photo, advertisement. And I was surprised, they do not know golden nuggets at all. So it's not that nugget, it is all the real golden nuggets. It's so costly thing kept there and nobody to guard it. No doors, no windows. And now will the thief who comes to know, the professional thief, who comes to know there is valuable big pot of gold, big pot of diamonds, emerald, costly things is lying there unguarded. If he comes to know, will he keep quiet? Can he stay calm? He becomes restless. He will start sketching. He will start planning. He will put a blueprint, how to go there, what way, what is the thing I should go, how much of bag should I carry? Should I carry in a cart, horse carriage? How should I go there, or by a vehicle, whatever? How shall I go there? What are the equipment to be taken? What is my planning? When should I go? At what time should I go? Everything he will put the sketch, planned it perfectly. The whole day he'll be thinking of how to steal it, what are the things he'll be enjoying, the gold coins, he'll be enjoying the emeralds, he'll be thinking, he will be meditating on that, varieties of costly things there, the jewels, the nuggets. And finally, when it is night, will he sit quiet? No. He rushes, he runs. When no people are there nearby, he runs, he takes the bag, everything, plunders it, checks it away. So after this story, Ramakrishna tells, all of you know, all of us know, that a thing costlier than the gold, costlier than the emerald, valuable than the most valuable, you cannot give any value to it. Immeasurable. You cannot put the rate on it. It's costlier than the costliest. That Lord, the Satchit Ananda, the Atma Swarupa, Parabrahma Swarupa, whom Mirabai called Payoji Maine, Rama Ratan Dhana Payo, Vastu Amolika. Amolika means Maulia. You cannot put any cost. Amolika, you cannot measure it. You cannot value it. Amolika, Vastu Amolika, Vastu Vasati, iti tishtati Vasati, always exists. I've got that Rama Ratan, the jewel of Rama's name. I've got it. Vastu Amolika Di Mere Satguru. My Sadguru has given it. The Guru has given me that Amolika. It cannot be valued. It cannot be given the cost. It is costlier than the costless. The name of the Lord has been given by my Guru. So how is it? All the time Tishtati Vastu Amolik Dhimere Satuguru Kirupa Kar Apanayo, by his grace. Karchaina Kutaivako. How much ever you use it, it never decreases. No Kshaya Karch. It doesn't get exhausted. You keep the money in the bank people will be taking away money, charging for your keeping there. Not only that, any transaction, anything you do, they will cut the money. So it will go on decreasing. Keep in the bank, it will decrease. Keep in your house, it may get spoiled. It may get torn. Then there may be Modi may start demonetization and all your money will lose its value. Or somebody else may be doing that demonetization. So there may be coronavirus coming and no use of your money. It will be wasted. Everything. Can you eat nuggets and golds in your house? But that which I have got in the form of Ramaratan, it can give you anything. It can give you food, it can give you joy, it can give you anything, clothing, everything. Karchai na kutai vako, chor na lutai. Use it as much as you want. It doesn't get exhausted, it will grow. If you keep money and emeralds in your house, you'll be always be afraid of the thieves who may burgle it. But no thief can take it away from you. Nobody can take it away. Ram Ratan, costliest jewel. Karchai na kutai vako, chor na lutai. The thief cannot loot it. Dina dina badatta savayo. Here, keeping the money or this thing, it will decrease. The value will decrease. Devaluation. But here, this Ramaratana, the Lord who is there in your heart, the Satchitananda, Atma Swarupa, Dina Dina Badatta Savayo, it increases every day. The more and more you use it, it becomes more and more. Take the name of the Lord, it becomes more and more. That is there in your heart. Unguarded, no doors, no windows, unguarded, no policeman to guard it, or nobody is owning it. You are the owner, it is in your own heart. It's so near to you. Have you ever tried to possess it? Have you ever tried to realize it? Have you ever tried to get it? You call yourself as a devotee of God. You call that you are a believer in God. Have you tried to realize Him? He's so near you. He's so real. He's everywhere. There's no place where He doesn't exist. He's in your own heart. He's so valuable. Nothing is valuable than Him. Have you ever tried? You call yourself a believer? You believe in God? Have you realized Him? Have you tried at least to realize Him? Have you shed one drop of tear to realize Him? You cry. You shed one jug of tear for your husband, for your wife. You shed 2 jugs of tears for your children. You shed 4 jugs of tears for your property, money, all other things, properties, vehicles. Have you shed 1 drop of tear that you have not realized God to get Him? These are the words of Sri Ramakrishna. Then you call yourself a believer. I'm even worse than the thief. The thief is better. If he comes to know a valuable thing is there, he will steal it away, take it away. He will realize it. You know that God exists in your heart and everywhere. Have you tried to realize God? How do you call a believer? How do you call you have faith in God? These are the words of Sri Ramakrishna. So, as is one's mood, spiritual bhava, so is one's gain. Yet bhavam tad bhavati. As is one's spiritual mood, so is one's gain. It is faith. It is faith. Faith, faith, faith. It is faith that is at the root of everything. It is through the spiritual mood, bhava, that love sprouts. You will get bhakti. You will get prema towards God. Everything that sprouts because of the faith. It is through the bhava that love sprouts. Spiritual moods, bhava, or imperative necessity. Imperative necessity. You cannot go forward in spiritual life without that imperative necessity. So is faith. So is also faith. Faith is very, very important. It's necessary to hold fast. Then only one succeeds. Another story for faith. A great saint had told that a great havan will be done, big havan, yaga, yagna. What is that yagna? Parjanya, yaga. What is that Parjanya, yaga? If you do that yaga from the Vedas, there will be rain. So in that part of the country or the province, there was no rain. It was drought for many years. So they prayed to the saint so that they will have rain. He told he will perform that havan, yaga, big yagna, Parjanya yaga. So there will be rain. So thousands and thousands of people from different villages have gathered there. Now the homa is going on, the havan is going on. That great saint is performing with so many priests, the havan wonderfully. All the people have gathered there. One small girl also is coming. She is a small child. She also wants to see that yaga, the Parjanya, which will give rain. So she also is coming. She is carrying one umbrella. All the others are laughing at the child. What, you are carrying umbrella? What, it is so drought, famine. There is no rain at all for so many years. And you are bringing an umbrella. What for? They are laughing at her. She's made a laughing stock. She came there, opened the umbrella. What is this havan for? What are you doing? Parjanya yaga. What for? To get rain. Then after that, there will be rain. So I brought the umbrella to protect myself. So all those people, thousands of people who had gathered there, they had come to that yaga, Parjanya yaga. They have given money, done all those things, bought all those saint and priests to get that yaga, but they don't have faith that it will rain. They've never bought the umbrella. But that smart child has that faith that there will be rain. So that is the only girl who had the faith there. So it materialized into action. She knew 100% that there will be rain because of that yaga, Parjanya yaga. So she has bought the umbrella. All these people, they've given the money. They've made all the arrangement. They bought the saint to do the Parjanya yaga to bring rain, but they don't have faith. Nobody has come prepared for the rain. But only that small girl had faith. That is faith. Belief in action, dynamic aspect. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna is stressing it. Spiritual moods are an imperative necessity. So is faith. Faith is also an imperative necessity. Without faith, nothing will happen. You cannot progress forward in spiritual life without faith. It's imperative. It's an imperative necessity. So is faith. It is necessary to hold fast. To get steadfastness, you should have faith. Without that, you don't get steadfastness. You don't get that. It's called Shraddha. No equivalent term in English for that. Shraddha, you can call it faith. Shraddha. Krishna tells Shraddhavan labate gnanam tatparas sayatendriyaha in Bhagavad Gita. Shraddhavan labate gnanam. A person, a man or woman with faith will get knowledge of God. Atma gnana, Brahma gnana. Shraddhavan labate gnanam. Then what is the opposite of that? Samshayatma vinashyati. Lord Krishna is telling in another shloka, Samshayatma vinashyati. A man who is always doubting Thomas. Everything doubt. But don't get confused with clearing the doubts and questioning. It is necessary because a doubtful knowledge is no knowledge at all. So you have to question, you have to know, you have to confirm. The knowledge should be, that is conviction. To get the conviction, you have to ask. It is out of the need to understand things you ask questions. That is wonderful. But doubting is different. Always doubting. That is different. You don't believe anything. You may ask questions, but you don't believe. So when you put that into action after asking a question, confirming it for conviction to get a doubtless knowledge, that's why I ask, please ask question if you have any doubt. That is a different thing. But doubting Thomas is different. You don't believe. You put an iron curtain. You never believe. You don't have faith. You don't put that into action. That is samshaya. So now Ramakrishna is telling, without faith, so is faith. It is necessary. It is a imperative necessity to get steadfastness, to hold fast, to go forward in spiritual life. Without Shraddha, you cannot. Shraddhavan labhate gnanam. Then only one succeeds. Ramakrishna is also telling, then only one succeeds. Do you know what a spiritual mood? Bhava means it is to establish a relationship with God and to keep it bright before our eyes at all times. So it's clear. Note it down. Do you know what is spiritual mood or bhava? What is that? Ramakrishna himself is asking the question to you, all of us. Do you know what a spiritual mood bhava means? It is to establish a relationship with God and to keep it bright before our eyes at all times. It is to establish a relationship with God and to keep it bright before our eyes at all times. At the time of eating, at the time of drinking, at the time of sitting, at the time of sleeping. You have to keep this relationship, the spiritual mood or bhava, bright at all times before your eyes, at the time of eating, at the time of drinking, at the time of sitting, sleeping. Not a time should pass without that relationship bright before your eyes. Do whatever the background should be, the basis should be that mood. Establish a relationship with God, then perform all the works. Whether you work for the wife or the husband, whether you serve your father and mother, whether you are serving your children, your family, earning money, enjoying, sitting, drinking, sleeping, means that always let that be bright, the relationship be bright with the Lord. After establishing the spiritual mood, the bhava, then do whatever, but let that be bright in front of your eyes always, whether you are sitting, drinking, sitting, sleeping, eating, all the times, do whatever. Now Ramakrishna makes it clear by giving an example. He's telling, for example, I am his servant. I am his child. I am a part of him. This is what is called the ripe I or ripe ego. Paka, ami. Ripe I, ripe ego. What is that? For example, I am his servant. Whose servant? God's servant. I am his child. I am the child of the God. I am a part of him, of God. I am a part of the God. This is what is called the ripe ego. Pakka ami. Ami means I. Pakka means ripened. This is what is called ripened I. And I of the knowledge, the ego of the knowledge. I've got the knowledge of God. Then what is the other opposite of that? I am from the superior caste. I'm a Brahmin. I'm a Kshatriya, Kayastha. I'm son of so and so. Do you know my father is a police officer? Do you know my father is a judge? I can now seize you. I can put you behind bars. I can punish you. My mother is that. My mother is this, a prosecutor. So identification with that is of Maya, the ripened ego. I'm son of so and so. I'm the father of so and so. You know, my child has become that and this. All these constitute the eye of spiritual ignorance. The opposite. These should be given up. These should be renounced. They bring about bondage by strengthening egoism and pride. Mada, Matsarya, Mada, Annamada, Arthamada, Akhila Vaibhava Mada. That you have beauty, praya, young age, Mada, the pride. You have to give up. These are to be given up. They bring the bondage by strengthening egoism and pride. Constant remembrance instead. You have to have the pride. You have to have the ego of that you are the servant of the Lord. You are the child of the Lord. You are a part of the Lord. This is called ripened I. You should have that pride. Give up these wrong prides. That will lead you to spiritual ignorance. These should be given up, should be renounced. They bring about bondage by strengthening egoism and pride. Constant remembrance of God in this form, with this relationship as you are the servant, you are the child, you are the friend, you are a part of God. Constant remembrance is necessary to neutralize all that negative bondages which will throw you away from spiritual life, which will put you down in the abyss of worldliness, Maya. So that has to be counteracted by these thoughts. I am the child of God. I am the servant of God. I am the friend of God. I am the sweetheart of God. I am a part of God. Constant remembrance with this relationship in this form of God is necessary. A part of the mind should always be kept turned towards Him. Yesterday I gave the example of the transcendental meditation. A part of the mind should always be kept turned towards Him. It is then only that success comes. One must make Him one's own by holding fast to one particular loving relationship with Him. It is in that way alone that loving pressure can be exerted on Him. If you establish that loving relationship as a child, as a father, as a mother, as a friend, as a servant, as a sweetheart, then the relationship becomes so strong that just like the child can exert pressure on father or mother, you can go and fight with your father and mother. I want that. I want this. You can fight with your sweetheart. You can fight with your child. Like that, now you can exert pressure on God because you have established that relationship now. You can tell Him, come on, give me a vision. I want to see you. I want this. I want that. Give me that. Give me spiritual development. See, so many people are suffering. Remove all their sufferings. You have the now right. I've dedicated my life for you. I've given up everything for you. Now you have to hear me. Hear my words. I have the right over you. I can command you. You should do this. So then you will get that faith. You can exert pressure on God. God will listen to you. He will become your slave once you have this relationship established with Him. A part of the mind should always be kept turned towards Him. It is then only that success in spiritual life comes. One must make him one's own. He should be your own. God is not somebody away sitting there in the skies on a throne with a big long beard or something. No. He's your own. He's within your own heart. He's nearest than your ego. He's nearest than your mind. One must make him one's own by holding fast to one particular loving relationship. That loving relationship is called bhava. That is the exact English translation of bhava, the loving relationship. It is in that way alone that loving pressure can be exerted on the Lord. Just see, when intimacy first starts or is about to start, we address a person as sir. As it deepens, it gives place to you. When it reaches the culmination, you also sounds flat. Then thou and thee becomes necessary. He must be made more than one's own. Then comes success. The Lord must be made more than one's own. That you have to become that. A person went to the door of another person, knocked at it. Came the answer from inside. Who is it? I am such and such a person. The door was not opened. Again knocked. Who is it? He answered, I am such and such a servant of your house. The door doesn't open. Who is it? I am such and such a person belonging to such and the door didn't open. Then finally, the knocked. Who is it? I am your own. Then the door got opened. So likewise, Ramakrishna is telling, just establish that relationship. Just see, when intimacy first starts or is about to start, we address a person, sir. There is the difference. As it deepens, it gives place to you. When it reaches the culmination, you also sounds flat. Then thou and then thee becomes necessary. He must be made more than one's own. He, the Lord God, has to be made more than one's own. The Lord or the God has to be made more than one's own. Understand it. Can you feel it? What Ramakrishna is telling, please go into those, read between the lines, catch the spirit of it. What is Sri Ramakrishna is telling? The Lord must be made more than one's own. Then only comes success. The Lord must be made more than one's own. Then only comes success. Another beautiful example after example, to thirst that idea into your heart. Take for example, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, take for example a woman gone astray. Take for example, a woman has gone astray. She's just beginning to love a paramar. What is that paramar? She's a married woman, but now she's having an illicit relationship with another man. That is called paramar. She's just beginning to love a paramar. How much of secrecy, fear, coyness is there? Then when the love has grown intense, none of those emotions remains. She then stands outside her family fold, going to the extreme length of holding him by the hand in the presence of all. If that man hesitates to take care of her and desires to desert her, she puts a piece of cloth around his neck and pulling him says, look here, I have left hearth, I have left my home, and I have rendered myself helpless for your sake. And now you seek to desert me? Maintain me. You must. Now similarly, a person who has renounced everything for God's sake, a person who has neglected all the other things for the God's sake, a person who is a devotee, real devotee of God, who has renounced everything for God's sake and made him his own, exert the pressure of love. Exert the pressure of love on him. Exert the pressure of love on him, on God, and say, I have renounced everything for thy sake. Thou hast therefore got to reveal thyself to me. Thou hast therefore got to reveal thyself to me. How can you go away? I have renounced everything for your sake. I've taken your name. I've given all my youth to you. I've never enjoyed my youth. I've given all my enjoyments to you. I've dedicated my life to you. How can you not show yourself to me? Give me your darshan. Give me your vision. Always be with me. So you can exert that loving pressure on God. You can show anger on God. That is out of love. He must be made more than one's own. And Ramakrishna is giving that wonderful example. Thou hast therefore got to reveal thyself to me. I have renounced everything for thy sake. When he found that the love of God has decreased in anyone, suppose in somebody, due to various reasons, faith is lacking, faith has gone down. After performing some spiritual practices, earlier having so much of faith, having so much of love towards God, surrendering everything to the Lord, due to various reasons, due to our past karmas or impression, that Shraddha has gone away, that faith has decreased. When he found, Sri Ramakrishna found that the love of God has decreased in somebody. When Sri Ramakrishna found the love of God has decreased in anyone, he used to ask that person. It has happened in all of us. It is a stages of evolution. Everybody will have that. The faith goes down, the love goes down. We get angry with God. We forget God. So when he found that love of God had decreased in anyone, he used to ask. Some of our seniors, like Revered Harshanandaji Maharaj used to tell, there was a Westerner, an American, or a European. He took up sannyasa. You know what is sannyasa? Renouncing. Giving up everything for the sake of the Lord is called sannyasa. So he took up sannyasa, that Westerner, the white man. Then he was in that garb for some years, not some years, maybe some months. Then after that, he was in his regular dress, back to suit and boot and hat and other things, the Western regular dress, American dress, maybe in his jeans pants and other things, t-shirt. Then the Swami asked him, what has happened? Why have you given up renunciation? Why have you given up sannyasa? What is the meaning of sannyasa? Renouncing everything for the sake of God. Then what is the reply of that gentleman? Reply of that Westerner, the European? He told, I have renounced renunciation. I have renounced sannyasa. I have given up sannyasa. I have renounced sannyasa itself. I have renounced. So we may renounce God itself. So in such condition, after having love towards God and going forward in spiritual life, when Sri Ramakrishna found that the love of God has decreased in anyone, he used to say, why do you say, I shall realize him in the next life, if not in this? Don't have that attitude. Don't be like a flattened rice. Put in water, it becomes so soft. Don't be like that. Why do you say I shall realize God in my next life, if not in this? No, one should not have such lukewarm devotion. No, one should not have such lukewarm devotion. What should be your faith? What should be your steadfastness? I will realize him by his grace in this very life. I will realize him by his grace in this very life, this very moment. Such strength, such faith should be maintained always. When Sri Ramakrishna saw people lost their love to God, when Sri Ramakrishna found that the love of God had decreased in anyone, he used to ask them, why do you say, I shall realize him in my next life, if not in this? One should not have such lukewarm devotion. Your devotion should be so strong. You should tell with firmness, I will realize him by his grace in this very life, this very moment. Such strength, such faith should be maintained. Swami Brahmanandaji Maharaj used to tell, you should have intense faith that you will realize God even at the last breath of your life. Now suppose I am dying and I am about to die. I have not realized God, but that faith should never go. Even this second, I am going to realize God. I will realize God in this life, this second. I may be dying. I may be giving up my life, but I should never give up my faith. I should never give up my steadfastness. That should be the intensity Sri Ramakrishna is telling. I will realize Him. By His grace, in this very life, this very moment, such strength, such faith should be maintained. Can one succeed otherwise? In that part of the country, Ramakrishna used to give the example in that part of the country, when cultivators go to buy oxen, when they want to purchase ox, they extend their hands to feel their tails. There are some oxen that do not get annoyed when people put their hands at the roots of their tail, but relax their bodies and lie on the ground. That is the way they test whether that ox is strong or not. They know that such oxen are no good. Those that jump up and become frisky as soon as the hand are put on their tails are the promising ones. They will buy only such thing. The man then selects his oxen out of them. So lukewarm devotion is no good. You should be like a mercury, always on the act. It never becomes idle. Put a mercury on the ground, try to catch it. Doesn't. It flows here and there, going, moving here and there. So in India, there is the saying, how active should you be? Should be like a mercury. Padarasa, it's called in Indian language, Padarasa. You should be active like a Padarasa. You should have that faith. No lack of faith. The man that select his oxen, if the man selects such oxen, then God will select only such people who are having that steadfast faith in Him. Lukewarm devotion is no good. Lukewarm devotion is no good. Have strength, have faith, have strength, have faith, and say, I will surely realize God. There is no doubt about it. I will realize Him this very moment. It is then and then only that realization comes. It is then and then only realization comes. Give up. He would continue all the worldly desires one by one. Give up all the worldly and he would continue all the worldly desires one by one. Far from giving up one by one, you are increasing them. How can you then expect to succeed? Far from giving up your desires, you are increasing them. Instead, increase the desire for God. Dedicate all your desires, dedicate all your works to God as an offering to Him. Increase the desire to realize God. But on the contrary, we are increasing the 24 karat gold, desire for 24 carats. So you will get that 24 carats. So your husband or your wife or your child will bring 24 big carats, make it a garland and put on you 24 carat gold chain. Instead, increase your desire for God. Increase it. Have steadfastness. Have faith. Have strength. Have faith and say, I will surely realize Him. There is no doubt about it. I will realize God in this very moment. It is then and then only that realization comes. You get God realization if you have this steadfastness and faith. So we will stop our discussion today because it's already time. We have some time for question and answer session. So if you have any questions, if you have doubts, clear it. Knowledge and doubtful knowledge and is no knowledge at all. So have conviction. For that, you have to ask questions, right questions to understand, not for just ask for the sake of asking question, but for going forward in spiritual life. By the question we can understand, they're so sincere. The question itself will show how sincere they are to realize God. So please ask questions if you have. Please ask the doubts and clear it off if you have.
Pranam Maharaj. Ravindra here.
Oh, yes, Ravindra, please tell.
Maharaj, when things are not going well, I mean, we have some trouble.
Yeah.
We keep getting, I mean, we have good faith comparatively, we have good faith. But when things are going smoothly in our worldly life, we often,
Yeah.
the faith goes down. So how do we maintain faith even when things are going well? Because I feel that that's the only real test of faith.
Yeah, that's always there. See, at the ordinary level, when see the going well, adverse situation and difficulties and happiness and other things are the same coin with two faces. After this, that is going to come. So when everything is going on well, you must surely know that will end in a short time and the other thing will come. So whenever there is a rise, there will be a fall. Whenever there is a high tide, there will be ebb tide. So these are the things. So until the sine wave becomes constant, this goes on. So this is not permanent. So you go on getting difficulty. So there is a saying in India, ಜಾಣನಿಗೆ ಮಾತಿನ ಪೆಟ್ಟು ಕೋಣನಿಗೆ ದೊಣ್ಣೆ ಪೆಟ್ಟು. So if you want to learn by ದೊಣ್ಣೆ ಪೆಟ್ಟು or the beatings and the blows of the life, then we are at a very, very lower stage. So even without the difficulties, even without the things, there's now Kunti, Mother Kunti, when Lord Krishna asked, please ask me a boon, you have taken up so much of difficulty for bringing up your children. Now you are happy, you have all the things in life. Now your children have got the kingdom. Now please ask some boon. She told, oh Krishna, always keep me in difficulty. Then Krishna knew her heart. Even then, he asked just so that we can understand what is her attitude. Then Kunti told, oh Lord, when I was in difficulty, always in the forest, going with my children, I always remembered you. So now that I've got all the things and everything, I forget, I tend to forget you. Happiness makes me to forget my goal, this thing. But it's intelligent. Is it not intelligent? Even whether it is happiness or it is suffering or it is adverse situation, to keep my mind constant, the same equilibrium is to be maintained, tranquility. I think that is a higher thing. So when we know that, even in the ordinary sense, I maintain my equilibrium, whether there is good or bad, adverse situation or bad situation, anything. So that is a higher thing. So we have to aspire for that. So as you go on for going forward in spiritual life, you will get that state. You will get even a better state. So that is called Sthitaprajna Lakshana. So maintaining that equilibrium at whatever state, whatever might be the thing outside, will be still calm and quiet. Once you identify yourself with God always. So that is the thing you can see. And I've told you the story of that Rabia Ladabia. She lost her two children, grown-up children. But in spite of that, she maintained calm. She prepared the husband for that. And when somebody asked, how could you? You are a mother, you have lost your child, but still you maintain that calmness. She told, if you have intense faith in God, you can withstand any difficulties, anything. So that intense faith has to be maintained. Instant steadfastness. See, that is what we discussed today. Steadfastness. Whatever might be the external condition, I will maintain. I'll go on intensifying my faith and steadfastness. Then it becomes steady. The sine wave will become lesser and lesser, and the wave will reduce. So in the physics, you study about the waves. So that sine wave will, as it reduces, this become no waves will be there. So make it constant, intensify your faith, intense always on that. So whether the external thing, whether there is good or bad, adverse or difficulty or whatever situation, you'll be in your own joy, enjoying that lot. To intensify your faith in God, think more about God, and it becomes steady.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes.
Yeah.
Namaste, Maharaj. This is Shantanu.
Yes, Namaste, Shantanu. I just wanted to add to Ravindra's question that, in the vehicles, earlier days, they used to put these shock absorbers to the wheels. So whether the road is smooth or where there is bumps and so many other this thing ditches, so the people who are sitting in the vehicle would feel the jolt. If the road is smooth, it will be fine. Otherwise, if it is a bumpy road, you will have the difficulty. But nowadays, the vehicles have made this hydraulic thing. So it will absorb air, and the hydraulic thing will go up, the whole vehicle goes up. Even if there is the worst of the thing, it will absorb everything. So it is just like the shock absorber. So whether it is a smooth road, whether it's a bumpy road, the shock absorber will absorb everything and it will be smooth all the times. Likewise, the great shock absorber is the Lord. The more you are near to the Lord, the shock will be less. So the best example given by Sri Ramakrishna is the grinding stone. In olden days, they used to grind and make powder or the rava or the flour with that grinding stone. All the grains that remain near the center will not get crushed. So the difficulties and other things are felt as you go away from the center. So the center, the Lord, is the shock absorber. Whatever may be the outside thing, you will not feel it, whether the road is smooth or bumpy. If you have that good shock absorber, if you are near him, then automatically it is the same thing to you. So that's what I just wanted to add. Now, Shantanu, please, you can continue.
Yes, Maharaj. Maharaj, you mentioned about steadfastness in spiritual practices. So, sometimes during the course of spiritual practices, the mind is not that joyful or does not get that much inspiration. So, how to go about it even in such situations, or what could be the motivating factor to keep it moving?
See, it is just like this. Whether you are hungry or not hungry, you take food. Whether you want or not, you will sleep in the night. Whether you want or not, you have some practices which you go on continuing with that. So like that, if you make these things as a part of your life, then whatever it may be mechanical, or it may give you joy or nothing, you will not give it up. So because now the food prepared by your wife is not giving you joy, will you stop eating food? You will go to some other hotel or you will go to your mother's house and demand some good things and eat, isn't it? So when you have faith and steadfastness in those worldly things, it's only a matter of converting that in your spiritual life too. So if the Lord is real, so it is priority. These things are the priority, the worldly things. God is not a reality to us. When it becomes a reality, then you cannot give up. So once you make it a practice and get joy out of it, so it will stick on to you. So in the beginning, whether it is rain or shine, you continue those practices. Then even in the time of adverse situation, or it may be you may not have mood, do it mechanically at that time, but it will bring you joy again. So that's why Krishna tells Abhyasa Yogena tu Kaunteya, Abhyasa and Vairagya. So gradual practice and Vairagya, giving up the desire. That is the method. So gradually increase, gradually go on with smaller things and increase. That's why he tells in Bhagavad Gita, Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa and Vairagya. Practice, practice, practice makes one perfect. Try again, you will succeed in it. We are always taught about the poetry in our primary school days, the King Lear and the spider. So in that, the King Lear has lost his kingdom to his enemies. Now he's running from the enemies. Now he ran and now to escape from the enemies, he hid in a cave. So he went inside the cave to hide from the enemies. So the enemies went away. He was in the cave. He was watching. A spider started weaving its web. You know, the cave and the stone will be so soft. The granite stone or something will be so soft. It's very difficult to stick the cobwebs. So it was trying from this side to that side, hanging, moving about. First time it tried, it failed, it came off. The second time it tried, it failed. Third time it tried, failed. Fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, seventh time. So seventh time it succeeded. Then he thought to himself, if this spider can do it and succeed, in spite of all the adverse situation, so smooth a wall, it succeeded. At the seventh time, it never gave up. So if the spider can do that, I just tried once, fought my enemies once, and I've given up. I'm even worse than the spider. Let me not give up. The spirit, the lesson I learned is try, 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 try again. You will succeed in it.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes, Shantam. Any other questions? Any other doubts? Okay. If you don't have any questions or doubts, we will close our discussion with a prayer. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarvayagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Prenite Prenitam Jagat Harihi Om Tatsat Shri Ramakrishna Padamastu. I think in few more days the classes will stop and will continue. Because of the Christmas season, everything will stop here. So December, maybe the next week, we may be discontinuing all the class. So it has been announced earlier. Maybe we'll have one more or two more class. Okay. Now.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste, Munesh Patelji.